Good afternoon, everyone. As discussed, we will be starting the topic Taylor today. So it's start of administrative thinker. First thinker we are going to study Frederick Winslow Taylor, or we can say scientific management, because Taylor and scientific management are same. And Taylor is very important topic. UPSC has asked questions from this area regularly. Plus you have to prepare Taylor because Taylor you can refer in various other concepts also. Like we discussed the new public management, there also neo-Taylorism is to be referred. Plus unit 11, techniques of administrative improvement. There also reference to Taylor is required. So let's first list down, as we do, list down the topics and dimensions from scientific management or Taylor. So list them. F.W. Taylor, or you can write scientific management. So topics, number 1, background of scientific management. Number 2, evolution of scientific management. Number 3, principles of scientific management. Background of scientific management, evolution of scientific management, principles of scientific management, features of scientific management. Then Taylor-Fayol comparison. Taylor-Fayol comparison. Then Taylor-Elton-Mayo comparison. Mayo is a human relations scholar. So comparison with Elton-Mayo. Taylor-Elton-Mayo comparison. Then we have scientific management movement. Next topic. Scientific management movement. Then critical evaluation of Taylor's work, or Taylorism you can say. Critical evaluation of Taylor's work. In critical evaluation, we have various dimensions of criticism. Workers' view or workers' criticism, workers' view. Trade unions critic. Managers' objections. HRT and Taylor's criticism. HRT means human relation theory. We shall study that later on. HRT and Taylor's criticism. Marxist criticism. Behavioralist, behavioral thinker, Simon-like scholars. Behavioralist criticism. Okay, written this part. Then present relevance of Taylorism. Present relevance of Taylorism. Here we shall study Taylorism's relevance, but special reference to neo-Taylorism. Special reference to neo-Taylorism. Then important quotes for previous year questions or expected questions. No, so there are quotes or statements from where question is asked. So some important quotes we will study, refer. That previous year questions had that quote, and expected questions is there can be question in future from these quotes. Written. Now recently is up to 2013, means after 2013 we have questions asked from this area, as we do every topic, every segment. When we cover, we take previous year questions, and we will be solving these questions in the class after we finish the topic. So this is 2021's question, 10 marks question. Question number 1E. Fayol and Taylor had different management perspectives. You don't procrastinate, means I will be not writing, I will be taking. You have to write the questions, because it's also a part of your revision. Now your mind makes revision. Your mind develops the aptitude to relate things. So you need to write. You should not miss it. Fayol and Taylor had different management perspectives while having similar goal of organizational efficiency. Comment. Okay, it is question number 1E. Question number 1E, year 2021, 10 marks question. Then question 1B. This is second question of year 2020, 10 marks question. Principles of analysis and principles of action were not differentiated. Principles of analysis and principles of action were not differentiated in Taylor's scientific management. In Taylor's scientific management. Comment. Okay. Then third question from Taylor, again question 1A. Taylorism is considered very controversial despite its popularity. Taylorism is very controversial despite its popularity. Stephen P. Waring. It is statement of Stephen P. Waring's. Comment. It is 2016's question, 10 marks question again. Now question number 2B. Question number 2B, year 2014, 15 marks question. Taylor's ideas need modification. Taylor's ideas need modification in the context of post-industrial economies. In the context of post-industrial economies in contemporary era. Okay, so I have taken question up to 2014, but I will be, after finish of the class, when I am going to discuss about these questions, I will be referring few other questions also. Like there was Antonio Gramsci's criticism asked in 2012. Plus Taylor and classical theory comparison has been asked in the past. So it's like Fayol-Taylor comparison. A similar form of comparison of Taylor with the classical organization theory. Relating to that question has been asked in the past, so I will be referring those questions also. But at least 4-5 years question you should cover, and this formatting will help you. So before we are able to answer the question, we need to understand in detail about Taylorism. So let's start our topic with what topic we had selected. So background of scientific management. Evolution and background are interrelated topics, so I will try to take them together just after finishing the background. So first let's start with the background of scientific management. Okay, I'm taking one thing like Taylor's first work, that differential piece rate system. The name of the work was piece rate system. Taylor's first work on scientific management was piece rate system. It got published in 1896. And it is called differential piece rate plan or differential piece rate system. We shall study about it. So first work published approximately this period. It means Taylor was working on his scientific management approaches approximately in 1890s. This was the phase Taylor was working. And no doubt the condition of his workplace, that means you say Taylor is a scholar belonging to US. Taylor was perhaps the only great thinker who started his journey as a worker. So he initiated his life as a worker, and his life, scholars write that the journey of his success is like industrial romance. Means how a worker reaches to the level of chief engineer, not the owner of industry. Chief engineer means a worker becomes a chief engineer. So his life evolved, and that person revolutionized American industry. Taylor was greatly influenced by America's condition, American industrial condition of that time. So in American industry, that was industrial condition was very poor. Sometimes you get surprised that why we are studying public administration, why we are studying about industry. Only with reference to Taylor, Elton Mayo, and somewhere in Hertzberg's case, we study about workers, factory, no related things. But that reference is very important. Different theories develop in different environment. So we need to understand the comprehensive aspect of that environment so that we can understand the theory in true sense. Okay. So although public administration is not directly related to industry, but Taylor's ideas are related to public administration. And Taylor's ideas are related to industry. That is why we are taking reference of industrial studies by Taylor. Okay. And not just Taylor, we have to take reference of the industry or researches in the industry in case of human relation theory, some cases Hertzberg's work. So don't get pressurized, take it neutrally. So Taylor was influenced by industrial condition of US. And see, in 1850s, this or 1850 plus or post 1850 circumstance, industries were burgeoning. You can say other words, mushrooming industries. The rise of industrial towns, making map of US, the rise of industrial towns in so many places. Especially this region was more prone to development of industries. And this coast also, this part also, but more was this area. So rise of industry, small industrial town, and condition of industry was poor. what were the negativities in the industry? Industry was run by managers, and managers were not so educated, or you can say they were not trained enough to run and manage industry in scientific manner. Managers did not know how work should be performed. Workers knew how work should be performed. Workers were also doing their work for 100 years, 50 years, 40 years on the same pattern. Traditional method was going on. Taylor called those techniques of work performance rule of thumb. Use of tools and techniques. The tools were used, traditional tools. Like you go to the village industries. So village industry people, for suppose they are cutting iron sheet. So they will be using traditional method of cutting iron sheet. Wood cutting is done by a saw, that RE. They use RE. Hammering is done by traditional hammers. But you come to city and nearby city industries, they use modern tools. So workers were using traditional tools, traditional method, traditional techniques. Workers deciding production. How much to produce today, how much to produce tomorrow. They were working in groups, like today in a contract, like painting contract, 3-4 laborers will come together, they will perform the task of painting. Similarly, workers used to come in group, and group wage was paid. Group wage system existed. So 5 workers together, every day wage they will be getting 1,000, suppose. Then the chief worker will get 300. The inferior workers will get some 250, some 100, some 150. Based on that, they used to distribute. So group wage system. Management did not know how to perform the work. Management was untrained. Worker decided how to perform the work. Therefore, worker decided the production. We will produce 5 units today or 10 units today. Workers decided. Which tool to be used? Worker decided. Now, managers who were not trained, they did not know how much time work will take. Managers did not want to go to the dust or dirt area of the plant, factory. So factory where suppose iron cutting or drilling task going on, work going on. So there will be dust, no, iron dust, iron particles. There will be grease or some lubricants here and there. So dirt will be there. So management did not feel it right to go to those places and observe the work. So workers went to the site, they performed the task, returned back. Management used to pay wages. Now, management always doubted that workers are performing in right manner or not. So because of that doubt, that suspect, they used to curtail, they used to cut their wage. No, you did not complete the work complete as per requirement, so cut the wage. So 10 units done, oh, why low? Management did not know how much unit could be performed. So 10 units done, why low? 15 units done, why low? Why less work? 20 units done, why less work? Workers knew this management will do. Therefore, workers deliberately reduced the production. They deliberately did not, if they could do 20 units a day, they preferred to complete only 10 units. Sometimes 12 units. Why? They know that the manager will be curtailing the wage even if they do 20. So they kept the management expectation low, or to keep the management expectation low, they reduced the production. Plus, production was less because of untrained workers. Nobody was there to train the workers. Nobody was there to develop better techniques of work performance. Traditional methods were going on. Nobody was there to create new innovative technique. And when even innovative technique does not exist, who will train the workers that innovative technique? So production was low because of the poor work method, outdated tools, outdated techniques, lack of training among workers. Production was low because of workers deliberately reduced the production because they knew that management's expectation will become high if they produce more. One more reason behind low production existed, that the workers wanted future days wage also. Suppose they will complete the work in 3 days, a particular work in 3 days, then maybe 4th day they will become unemployed. This is done by daily wage. Suppose you appoint daily wage painters. They can complete the work in 2 days, but they will take 5 days, 4 days. Because they know that if they delay the work, they will get the wage for 5 days. So ultimately this industrial condition poor, what does this mean? Low productivity. Productivity was low. Why productivity was low? Because of the untrained workers, because of outdated tools, techniques, because of soldering. Soldering, the 2 iron rods are just joined together, or some parts where it is broken, joined together. It's called ghisapita. No, you join something, it's a ghisapita thing. So soldering is basically, the term soldering is soldering. It is outdated method of work which will lead towards poor production. What is soldering? You can write down. Outdated method of work which can lead towards poor production. Soldering, outdated method of work which lead towards poor production. Soldering. So soldering was natural and systematic. Soldering can be of 2 types. Natural soldering and systematic soldering. So natural soldering, why? Because these 2 regions. These are the reasons for natural soldering. Techniques are outdated, tools are outdated, and workers are not trained. So soldering will be natural. Systematic means deliberate. This was deliberately workers reducing the production by doing outdated techniques. So systematic soldering is deliberate. जानबूझकर. Okay. So why soldering, deliberate soldering was done? To keep management expectation low. If management expects more and they could not do, then wage will be curtailed. To keep management expectation low. Number 2, for their future wage possibility. So they have availability of work in future also. So if they complete work in 2 days, they will not get employment for next 3 days. So they deliberately curtailed work. Now, apart from this, there existed distrust between management and the worker. So low productivity was one factor. Apart from that, there existed the distrust between management and workers. Okay. Distrust between management and workers. Workers distrusted managers. Managers used to curtail their wage. So workers did not have trust for management. And management distrusted worker. Management had no trust upon workers. Why? Because workers deliberately curtailed the production. And they had group. They used to come in group. They used to have group bargaining. They were united. If one worker denies the work, others will also deny. So they were united. There was bargaining. Trade unions were flourishing because of these reasons. So trade unionism was there. So management always distrusted the workers that they will not be producing more. They will not be doing good things. They will not think in the industry, in the interest of industry. This kind of negativity prevailed in the management. And if low productivity, because of distrust also, the industrial chaos, few days workers are not working, they are on strike, or they are opposing some management policy because trust is not there. So industrial strikes, lockouts, related phenomena. Industrial lockouts. Lockout means bandi, like strike. So industrial lockouts. And if this will be there, suppose, so one fan to be manufactured, imagine. One fan is manufactured by 3 laborers in one day. But because of workers' low productivity, deliberate, because of workers untrained, without training they are performing, outdated tools they are using, or because worker manager conflict existing. This conflict also called conflict between capital and labor. So suppose conflict existing and these conditions are there. So fan can be manufactured in one day. It takes 3 days. So 3 days establishment cost upon one fan. The cost of fan will rise. So low productivity ultimately led towards high cost of production. And high cost of production, everybody was loser. Nobody was gaining from this. So high cost of production means ultimately burden will come on consumer. Consumer are facing financial crisis. Cost is high. Therefore, demand from them will be low. Industry will not be incentivized. If the demand is low, they are bound to produce less. Industry has other establishment. Industry is not able to grow. So capital is not getting its proper return. So high cost of production, everyone was loser. How? So management lost profit. consumer had to get things costly. Workers were not getting work whole the year round. And even not getting better wage or incentive. Everyone was loser here. And if you look at these conditions, low productivity in the industry, distress, a kind of conflict, industrial conflict, lockout strikes, high cost of production, everyone was loser. This situation can be called, in a scholar's view, it was an industrial anarchy. Industrial anarchy. And Taylor came to rescue American industry from this anarchy. Imagine such a big objective Taylor had in mind. He came to rescue American industry from this anarchical condition. What the point? So here, what is the background of scientific management? Taylor developed certain principles, methods, techniques to manage the industry in scientific manner. Today we know as scientific management. In the background of industrial anarchical condition of America, where the industry had very low productivity, management worker conflict, industrial chaos, strikes, lockouts, high cost of production, the higher prices for consumers, less profit for management, and the poor wage and incentive to laborers. In this background, Taylor came to rescue American industry from this anarchy, and he bailed out through certain techniques and methods. Clear? Same thing we will be writing in one short paragraph, because background will not be asked in question, but you need to revise. That is why you have to write. So start writing this point. Heading you will give the background of scientific management. Start writing. American industry was passing through various crises. Yes, you can put various crises. There was low productivity due to various reasons, like untrained workers, outdated tools and techniques, natural and systematic soldering, and overall industrial chaos. CHAOS, chaos. Full stop. Management worker conflict was very common. Management worker conflict was very common because they distrusted each other. Full stop. There existed trade unionism and collective bargaining which prompted PROMPTED which prompted PROMP which prompted frequent strikes, lockouts, or shutdown. Full stop. These all resulted into higher cost of production. Which had negative effect not only upon the consumers, who had to pay higher prices, not only upon the consumers who had to pay higher prices, again comma, but also upon management and workers. Management was receiving low profit and workers were underpaid. Now change the paragraph. In crux, in America there prevailed an industrial anarchy. Taylor came to rescue American industry from such anarchical situation. Taylor's scientific management was a revolution. In the sense that it could save American industry by bringing extraordinary tools, techniques and methods of production. Okay, this is background. Now I said this background evolution are interrelated. Why I said this? Because we know that first the background was anarchy, and in anarchical situation he came out with the idea piece rate system, that 1896. Okay, so second topic we are to cover is evolution of scientific management. Evolution of scientific management. Here evolution we have four developments, four work of Taylor which is leading towards evolution. First is his work, a piece rate system. We also call it differential piece rate plan. This we will one by one we will discuss. This piece rate system in the year 1896. Then came his second work, shop management. This work 1903. Third comes his art of cutting metals. This comes in 1906. And finally comes principles of scientific management. (1911). List it, write it. A piece rate system first. Or differential piece rate plan. Shop management. Then art of cutting metals. Then principles of scientific management. Written? Now we will talk about all of them one by one. First of all, a piece rate system. So there can be time rate and there can be piece rate. Time rate means per day wages, and here per unit wage. Here he developed a concept called differential piece rate plan. I'll draw a diagram and then I will give you list of the features of this piece rate system. Okay, This came in 1896. Draw it, then I'll discuss. So it's written expected work performance level, EWP level. Above EWP level, below EWP level. He said that there should be always one expected target must be fixed. We cannot leave production at the mercy of the workers, that they will produce today 5 units, next they will produce 10, someday they will produce 2. Because even if we pay them per unit wage, which Taylor proposes here, workers may not be interested in doing more tasks today. They can take leave, go to their village. They will be back in 15 days, sometimes in 2 months. Or they are working today, they don't have mental attention towards work, so they will do less work. But how can industry afford? They have some orders for supply. They have some targets to achieve, sales target. They have some promises to customers, wholesalers, traders. How industry can fulfill them? If they leave things on the workers, how they will be fulfilling their responsibility towards the client? So they have some target, and a worker can do something. Suppose worker, if ordinary worker, if concentrates on work and gives his best, maybe he can produce 10. The worker can produce 10. So this can be expected from worker. This is EWP level, expected work performance level. And if a worker is achieving this EWP level, that's 1.0, then he will be paid rupees 10 per unit. Per unit wage is 10. So 10 unit wage is 10. He will get rupees 100 if he achieves EWP level. Plus Taylor says that here he should get this wage plus bonus. Give him bonus. If he achieves EWP level, give him bonus. Those who achieve more than this, suppose a worker is producing 15 per unit, then pay him 15 rupees per unit. Then this person is getting 225. Otherwise, with the rate of 10, he could have get 150, but he is getting 225 plus bonus. But if he is producing less, 7, so pay him by 8 rupees per unit or 7 rupees per unit. Suppose 7 rupees per unit, then 49. With this wage rate 10, he could have got 70, but now he is getting 49, means it is punishment. Wage rate is standard, he is getting bonus. It is reward. Wage rate is higher, plus getting bonus, it is also reward. Now differential, the term differential piece rate, why term differential? You see, with the change in the level of production, the rate of wage is changing. Differential. For a particular level, this wage, X wage, above that Y wage, below that Z wage. A change in the piece rate, differential piece rate plan. Now, how to apply this? What are the features existed in this differential piece rate plan? Let's write it. Okay, when you write it, you will get the point. So heading you give differential piece rate plan. One more thing before writing, I shall suggest you that you can recall when we discussed new public management. In new public management, there was concept of neo-Taylorism. Neo-Taylorism is related to memorandum of understanding. Memorandum of understanding carries the philosophy from here. Performance evaluation of the worker, individual responsibility of the worker, reward and punishment. MOU system carries all the three components. So let's write about, give heading, a piece rate plan. Point number 1. Taylor devised a differential piece rate system against a more prevalent time rate system of his period. Point number 2. Under this plan, an expected work performance level was to be established. For achieving expected work performance, in bracket you write EWP level. Okay, for achieving EWP level, workers could get standard wage rate prevalent in the industry plus bonus. For achieving above EWP level, full stop. For achieving above EWP level, the workers should be paid higher rate per unit. Higher rate per unit plus bonus. Full stop. Those who could not achieve EWP level, those who could not achieve EWP level, thank you. Those who could not achieve EWP level, they should get lower per unit wage. Lower per unit wage without any bonus. Next point. The EWP level based wage payment EWP level based wage payment is differential in nature. And it carries the component of economic reward and punishment. Component of economic reward and punishment. Later on, full stop, later on, this idea of Taylor was explained as economic theory of motivation, or the Taylor's concept of economic man. Or the Taylor's concept of economic man. Okay, what is economic man? We will discuss future. Next point. Under differential piece rate plan, group wage system was abolished. Group wage system was abolished. And individual wage payment, group wage system was abolished and individual wage payment system was brought. Individual wage payment system was brought. Taylor commented, full stop, same point, Taylor commented, pay the men and not the position. This system full stop, same point. This system prevented collective bargaining which led towards logical criticism from trade union organizations. Next point. This differential piece rate plan inherently carries number A, individual responsibility. Number B, performance appraisal. And number C, award and punishment. These three components become the basis of neo-Taylorism. Which was applied as one of the core ideas of new public management. And is found in Indian system also. In the concept of memorandum of understanding for PSUs. Clear? So this differential piece rate plan is it seems to be very simple. But you find that inherently this idea carries Taylor's theory of motivation. We hear about Taylor that he proposed economic man. Then human relation theory proposes social man. This social man becomes more significant in behavioral studies later on. So why we say Taylor proposes economic man? Because we take this differential piece rate focus of Taylor. There are other points also that we will do in features of scientific management. That scientific management based on the economic theory of motivation. We call it monistic theory also. Why we will do it separately, extensively, but basis comes from here, from differential piece rate plan. Plus new public management, interrelationship of neo-Taylorism comes from here. MOU reforms started in 1991 in India comes from here. Okay. So piece rate system was first part of the evolution, is the first of the evolution of Taylor's idea. Then the second comes SOP management. Now one more thing, when we studied piece rate system. Piece rate system could temporarily resolve some of the issues of industries. So let's talk about what different problems it can resolve. Definitely, the management worker conflict existed. Why? Because management curtailed wages at their will. They had no idea how much can be produced. Worker produced 10, they said less. They produced 20, they said less. They produced 5, they said less. Why? Because they did not know how much can be produced. Now Taylor says devise a system. So when system devised, it is clear to worker. It brings transparency. It's clear to worker that 10 unit is expected from me per day. If I don't complete 10 unit, then I will be punished economically. So if the management curtails wage as per or giving wage as per differential piece rate plan and low rate per unit is given, then it is not fault of the management, it is system. So workers' distrust in the management will come down, isn't it? So piece rate plan was able to reduce this, able to remove this distrust. It could solve this problem. Even management worker distrusting management, management distrusting worker will vanish, because now they don't have to distrust. You pay, you prepare, produce more, take more, produce less, take less. So this distrust reduced. Plus systematic soldering related problem was also solved. Deliberately worker will not be reducing the production, they will be increasing. Individually they will increase more and more, do more and more, because they are getting piece rate. So why should I work for 5 days and get wage? Why not complete work in 1 day? So systematic soldering problem was resolved. Industrial lockouts, strikes reduced, but it created lots of dissatisfaction among the workers, trade union leaders, organizations, because of other reasons. But there was collective wage payment, collective bargaining, so workers were united. Now workers became rival of one another. You produce 20, I will produce 50. So individual bonding was broken, group bonding was broken, individual rivalry created. So temporarily industry came out from this industrial chaos, industrial strikes, lockouts, etc. And ultimately what happened? The production increased because of that. So cost of production will come down. This production will increase. Low production's problem will come down. So cost of production will reduce. It will benefit the consumer. Definitely workers are getting more wage and management is getting more profit, but there was a problem. In search for higher wages, suppose workers are producing more, then they will be compromising the quality. Why? Because differential piece rate system is just developing how to pay the worker. How to perform the work means scientific tool, scientific technique, scientific method is absent. Piece rate system does not say that this method is best one, this tool is best one. In place of tool X, work on tool Y. So in the absence of scientific techniques of work performance, it created a new problem. What was the problem? So piece rate system led towards more production, more production in search for higher wage, but decrease or decline in quality. It brought a quality related issues. How? Because they have to things in a hurry. because producing more, quality will be compromised. This quality improvement could be done through scientific method of work performance. Taylor knew this. But for different work, different science was required. Coal industry will require different type of science. Iron steel will require different type of science. Chemical industry will require different type of science. How can Taylor suggest a generic science? So again, you see here, piece rate system resolved certain problems. What are they? Industrial lockouts, management worker conflict, systematic soldering, low productivity on systematic soldering, not from training of workers or tool based, just based on systematic soldering. And cost of production reduced. The benefit came to people in terms of money to everyone. But the problem was the piece rate system led towards decline in quality. To some extent, Taylor's method was able to solve some of the industrial problems, but it created new types of problems concerning quality. But Taylor had no scientific study till now to suggest to the industry that you do this is science of work, do this way. And how could he expect that management will be developing science? But he knew that there can be some means by which science of work can be developed. He knew this. And Taylor was already working on this subject. We will study third part, art of cutting metals. In that, Taylor had compilation of the 30,000 plus experiments which he conducted at a span of 26 years. That means 1906, going back 30 years, 26 years means it is 1880. Since then he was conducting experiment, compiling things. But he had not completed his work yet. So till then, till he is suggesting his work, art of cutting metals, he had to do what? He came out with a temporary solution. And this solution was SOP management. So science of work was a problem. Fight for wage vanished. Strikes, lockouts reduced. Systematic soldering also reduced. Cost of production came down because of higher production per day. But the problem of quality came because of science of work. He did not have solution. Therefore, temporarily he suggested SOP management. What is SOP management? So SOP management is a philosophy of management. What is SOP management? It is philosophy of management. Here SOP basically used for work SOP. This SOP means work SOP. Work SOP, you know, industrial work SOP, car work SOP, where the workers are working with the help of tools, doing some work at the plant's level, plant's workers level. How to manage the work SOP? Relating to that, he proposed some philosophy. This philosophy came to be known as SOP management. This was his third work in the evolution process, second work in the evolution process, 1903. And you need to write, there are core philosophy is 4, but it has been organized into 5 points. write down all these points. Point number one. Point number one. The objective of management must be to pay objective of management must be to pay high wages and have low unit production cost to achieve the increased industrial efficiency. Again, I am saying writing in your copy is a good habit. It helps. So write. Objective of management must be to pay high wages and have low unit production cost to achieve the increased industrial efficiency. Second point, management have to apply scientific methods of research and experiment to the management problems. Then third one, standardization of working conditions. And placing the workers on the basis of scientific criteria. Management must give formal training to workers. And specific instructions to perform the prescribed motions. Motions means bodily motions. To perform the prescribed motions with standardized tools and materials. Clear? Friendly cooperation between workers and management. Fifth one, friendly cooperation between workers and management on the basis of scientific system of labor organization. Now, can you see here the industrial problem of quality? Why? Untrained worker, poor tools techniques, poor method. Management itself was not trained using rule of thumb. Science and rule of thumb are opposite. Rule of thumb rule. Angutha chap you say. So thumb rule is basically unscientific approach. So he as a philosophy he says that okay, there should be, first he says, high wage and low unit production cost, okay, and industrial efficiency will rise, first thing. But apply science in problem solving. Standardize work means make scientific work methods, techniques. Give training to workers. And motion, here use of motion is body motion, means those days suppose coal is to be taken from ground to truck, then a particular way to take the coal and throw on the truck is required. So particular motion, this way or that way, how to carry this shovel, how to throw it into the truck. So there was body motion which was manual. There was mixed tools, with the help of man work was performed. So in Taylor's work, we so many times we hear time study, motion study. Motion study means body motion study. And bodily motion can help develop the science, okay, those days. So they have to, whatever management does research, standardized technique, standardized method, and management suggest, worker must follow those suggestions. Worker should not ignore the guidance, and there must be cooperation between them, cooperate each other. So he prescribed a philosophy called shop management, okay, written. It's not much there in shop management, but next suggestion of Taylor is very important. Next work of Taylor is very important, and that is a art of cutting metals. This was a document which carried 30,000 plus experiments conducted at a span of 26 years. It carried how to perform an industrial work. Tools, techniques, or methods. This was a paper. No, it was a research paper. In that he had developed tools, techniques, or methods, how work can be performed. Like cutting of sheet, how cutting of sheet should be done. Hammering of iron. Shovel, how should be shoveling experiment, how shovel can be used to throw coal on the truck. Like that. Approximately 30,000 experiments conducted, okay, with the help of time study, motion study, chart preparation, etc. He did this. And this paper he presented to ASME, American Society for Mechanical Engineers. In the year 1906. One sentence you should write. Art of cutting metals was art of cutting metals was the most valuable document ever presented to a learned society. This statement you keep in inverted commas, right? Inverted commas, this is statement, and then give hyphen, right? American Society for Mechanical Engineers. ASME reports, ASME writes that art of cutting metal was the most valuable ever presented to learned, this is learned society. So to an expert organization, learned organization, never ever such a valuable document was presented. Scholars say that the most important, some of the scholars are of the view that we are studying scientific management from public administration, reforms in administration. But lots of scholars, lots of thinkers see the Taylor's work from the perspective of industrial revolution. It was a kind of second industrial revolution in US. The person like Henry Ford, the father of Ford Motors. Henry Ford also followed Taylor's idea, and he developed assembly line system based on Taylor's concept. Ford's idea we know as Fordism. It is said that Taylorism was the mother of Fordism. Hitler, Stalin, like people who hated America but loved Taylor. Hitler, German Chancellor Führer, he hated US, but he wanted Taylor's idea to be brought in Germany. And USSR under Stalin, communist Russia, they hated US, but they loved Taylor. Why? Because a Stakhanovite movement I will refer to in scientific management movement. It started on the basis of Taylor's view. And that basically the spread of Taylorism was more in the sense of industrial transformation, industrial revolution. So it revolutionized, art of cutting metals had done what? It revolutionized not only American industry, but in fact the whole industrial world. Not just it revolutionized the American industry, but revolutionized the whole industrial world. That I took example, Germany or USSR, they all benefited from Taylor's idea. So art of cutting metal. Now he had done what? In SOP management, he says management should standardize the work. Standardize means a particular standard of work performance. Everyone can follow that standard. So prepare a law, a standard. Allow others to prepare a standard. People should be trained. This is science, isn't it? So in SOP management, he says management should develop standardization. Now he himself proposed the standard methods through his experiment. Now he can propose he had complete understanding of the situation. He had not just philosophy but also the practical proposals of work performance through art of cutting metals. Now Taylor could suggest principles of scientific management. Then after lots of mental work and further deliberations on the subject, the coming years, that means in 1911, he came out with principles of scientific management. Principles of scientific management, year 1911. I should make you cautious here that do not assume, no, you study science of administration in Taylor. Everything is not principle. He proposes 4 points of the principles of scientific management, and whenever the question is related to principles, you should write these 4 points or on the basis of these 4 points. Okay, so in the evolution, it is the climax. So art of cutting metal was third one, shop management was second one. Now principles of scientific management is fourth one, is the evolution or the climax of his principles, his work. So there are what principles? 4 principles are there. 1, development of a true science of work. Number 2, scientific selection and progressive development of the workman. Third, bringing together of science of work and scientifically selected and trained men. Means bringing these two together, science of work and scientifically selected and trained men. Okay, and fourth one, division of work and responsibility. Write down. Development of a true science of work, scientific selection and progressive development of the workman, bringing together of science of work and scientifically selected and trained men, division of work and responsibility. And these are interrelated concepts. They can't be seen separate. Okay. So when we, first of all, Taylor, I'm giving a brief, then I will detail explanation I'll give. So first of all, Taylor says develop true science of work. True science of work, Taylor means the best way to perform task. He call it one best way of doing work. Means a standard method, one best way. There are method 1, M1, M2, M3, M4, M5, M6. There can be hundreds of methods, but out of that, one method will be best. M0, suppose. So develop it. There is process I will suggest. So first develop M0, the best method of doing work, one best way. Now one best way you develop. Who will do this? Management will, with the help of research, science, they can develop. Or they can follow Taylor's art of cutting metals. Then he says, just we develop method M0 is not sufficient. To perform task based on M0, we need workers. Qualified worker will be required. Every worker has potential, but different worker can perform different work in better way. So go for scientific selection. Select them scientifically for different specific task. Select them and train them. Progressive training, not just train today, train tomorrow, train day after tomorrow, consistently training. So first develop one best way. For performing that one best way, pick scientifically, select worker, train him. Now we develop method M0 and we trained the selected worker, trained him. But there is human tendency that I am riding bicycle, I purchase bike. Then I don't know riding bike, so I got training from driving school, how to drive bike. Driving I learned. But human tendency, they will again go back to take their cycle, go to ride. It happens with students. Teaching new techniques of writing answers, but they use the old technique, university, school days technique of writing. So one best way we developed, selected worker, trained them, but worker is not performing M0 method. So bringing them together is required. Means we must ensure that worker follow, trained worker follow the one best way to perform the task. He follow the tools which is required for one best way. So bring them together. Here Taylor talks about mental revolution. Without mental revolution, worker will not be accepting that scientific method. What is that? We will discuss in details. And fourth one, that worker is always taking, you give responsibility to worker, worker will be ready. But management think, why should I go to dirty place, workshop? Why should I go to dust, dung, dirt? Dirt is there. Work is not my task. I am the manager. I should sit in a fine cabin, high couch chair, two of my legs crossed on my table. Management do not want to take responsibility. If management is not sincere, then who will develop this science of work? How the scientific selection of worker will be done? Who will be taking initiative of training the worker? And there is a giant task, elephant level task, to bring them together. This will also management should ensure. So devise the technique with the help of management. For this purpose, divide the work and responsibility. What is the responsibility of manager and worker? Means they are equally responsible for growth of the industry. Worker take the initiative, they take the responsibility, manager do not take. So this way the development, this way science of work can be converted into practice. That will be scientific management. So let's talk about that, how in detail about the development of true science of work. A brief detailed discussion is required. Development of true science of work. So how development of true science of work? Let's discuss on this subject.